Harry's Wife, Part 104.15. You are simply unpleasant. I explained to you some time ago that Harry's wife was experiencing the downward spiral. To begin with, it's like an almost elliptical orbit, quite shallow in its orbit, slow as she circles around that drain, moving slowly, quite some distance from it. But as time goes on, it starts to get faster, and the descent becomes steeper, and the proximity to that hole, that drain, becomes closer. And we have seen how the downward spiral has started to increase as a consequence of more people distancing themselves from her, the fact that journalists are openly mocking her more and more, that opinion pieces are slamming her for her behaviours, that she has gone from contemplating speaking to a packed arena, Michelle Obama style, to turning up at the Women of Power in Indianapolis at a downtown Marriott hotel. The fact that Archetypes has slumped in the listings on Spotify, indeed in some instances failing to dent it to begin with, so not so much as a slump as a non-appearance. Or the fact that people have turned down appearances on the show, that people are recognising more and more what she is. And as a consequence of all of this and the threats to control that are posed by this, her narcissism responds by trying to grip onto that control and power all the tighter. More demanding, more pity plays, more ridiculous delusions, more lies. And the more lies that are told, they start to rack up, with those collateral consequences and the repeated contradictions coming forward. And there are a legion of fact-checkers across cyberspace waiting to pounce on the latest incorrect assertion, fabrication, revision of history, or out-and-out porky pie. This downward spiral continues apace, and as always, if there's anybody that we can rely upon to say it straight, to shoot from the lip, or to give her a machine gun rattling from the keyboard, it is, of course, the Australians. Yes, we turn to skynews.com.au with an opinion piece from Caleb Bond stating, Harry's wife's unpleasant character, not her skin colour, the cause of her global unpopularity. Yes, there is the outcome of Harry's wife's global unpopularity being proclaimed. A thermonuclear explosion somewhere in the Monte Shitshow area. But there's more. The Duchess of Dreary has claimed her reputation as a demanding person comes down to the angry black woman trope. Maybe such a perception is not because of her ethnicity, but because she's a thoroughly dislikable person. Narcissists aren't particularly good at admitting they're at fault. Caleb Bond slamming it in there straight away, identifying and confirming what I have said for a long time indeed. Narcissists aren't particularly good at admitting their fault. Everyone else is usually to blame. Any excuse can be deployed. Anyone can be thrown under the bus, so long as they maintain the self-delusion that they are perfect in every way. Harry's wife has become an expert in this field. She thought she ought to be paid for performing duties. She couldn't understand why she was expected to continue royal duties after there was a fire within earshot of her son, though at no risk of causing him harm. It wasn't that she was a snowflake, it was the cruel, insensitive royal machine expecting her to act like a normal person after nothing serious actually happened. Lately, she's been at it again, claiming she's not demanding, and that such a perception comes down to the angry black woman trope. Of course, it would have nothing to do with the fact that she signed up to be a royal, which involves a life of public service, and then realised how much work it was, so she buggered off to the United States for some quote-unquote privacy. And, as all good private people do, she discussed this on her multi-million-dollar top-rating podcast. The perversion of celebrity, closely intertwined with narcissism, is strong in Harry's wife. The fact that she's demanding and difficult and generally disliked by a great deal of the world's population has nothing to do with her skin colour. It is because she is demanding and painful, an unfortunate trait of many celebrities who forget who made them famous. That, of course, is the rest of the world. The only fame they have is because we give them fame. People have seen straight through Harry's wife and taken a dislike to her, not because of her skin colour, but because she's a demonstrably unlikable person. It doesn't much matter whether you're black, white, or brindle. The people who create the fame of others, the viewing, reading, listening public, don't take particularly well to being mistreated by those they've elevated. It is the same fate James Corden, arsehole, a thoroughly mediocre white man, has met. He was rude to waiters at swanky New York restaurant Balthazar, with owner Keith McNally then calling him out on social media. What followed was a litany of similar complaints and people turning on the TV star because they learnt what he was actually like. Most ordinary people have worked in hospitality or retail at some point in their lives, and they've experienced the pain of demanding, rude, entitled customers. Strangely enough, they don't appreciate that kind of entitlement. Mr. Corden, arsehole, could not be saved by his sex or skin colour. People realised he was a drongo, and they began teaching him as such, or treating him as such. Corden, arsehole, and Harry's wife are two peas in a pod, entitled, whiny celebrities who have been found out and can't handle it. That Harry's wife thinks it is more to do with her skin colour than her attitude is more proof of her rampant narcissism, and the fact that she never intended to participate in royal life. No punches pulled whatsoever, and it would seem to me that Mr. Bond has probably been listening to my work, given the observation that he's made there, and good for him. A very clear observation that she is a narcissist, that she's thoroughly disliked, and, as a consequence, she is disliked because of her behaviour, something the dim-witted sugars are totally incapable of understanding, but everybody else realises. And here we have another recent piece identifying her behaviour as the cause of the dislike, and again demonstrating that she is a narcissist. Her downward spiral is speeding up. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.